Mr. Kendal, we're talking about renewable energy here today at the European Parliament at this EurActiv workshop. Tell us, what is the story in Hampshire?
Well, we've invested something like £200 million in energy from waste plants from a point of view of sustainable energy production. We're reaching the next stage of our program now, which is to look seriously at renewable energy in terms of our carbon commitment to the 2020 agenda on reducing carbon commitment in Hampshire.
How do you go about looking for financing these renewable projects?
Well, on the macro scale, and then again on the individual scale, we would tend to want to make sure that the income we receive on the macro scale for a very large investment would, together with the feed-in tariffs and the savings in electricity charges, which we ourselves have to pay, would make the expenditure of capital worthwhile on an income stream basis. And on that basis, one can get reasonably cheap loans from either bankers or the market, or indeed in our own case, from the Public Works Loan Debt Board.
So what can other European regions learn from your experience?
Well, we've come here to learn from other regions. I'm actually representing the AER Climate Change and Workshop Committee today. And we have in the past learned quite a lot from what they have done. In many cases, the European market is different to the UK market in terms of the fact that much of our energy grid is already privatised, and there is a mixture of that and public ownership in Europe. But we're particularly interested in some of the European feasibility study funding arrangements, such as the ELENA Fund, the Green Investment Bank in the European Investment Bank, and so on.
There's quite some reluctance against further privatization in the energy sector in Europe in general, especially on the continent. Does your experience in the UK suggest that it's a positive way that makes it easier to finance these green energy deals?
Well, ironically, what has happened in the free market that we set up since about the early 90s and the late 80s is that many of our British companies have been taken over, for example, by French companies in the field of energy production. And of course the French are very strong in nuclear production, and we're looking at nuclear fission stations at the moment. So it has brought with it both benefits and disbenefits, but in general it has helped keep the cost structure low through the regulator who regulates the prices which the man in the street has to pay for electricity, and that in itself produces a bit of a problem in terms of capital investment by those grids, and in particular the way in which the new smart grid technology is going to have to operate in the years ahead.
Okay, we can talk about this a lot more, but is there anything else very pressing that we really should know about your involvement?
Well, I think that the main thrust of the discussion this afternoon is going to be what the regions can do. I think the important thing to remember is that a centralised European Commission actually can't deliver on the ground what the regions can deliver through our decentralised arrangements. So it is important for Italy and Abruzzo in Italy, and it is important for Hampshire in England to be able to deliver things like solar power and other units to the citizens that live in that region.
Okay, thanks very much.